The complexity of modern life can wear a person down. Deadlines, expectations, and the relentless pull of responsibilities, all of it takes a toll. In the summer of 2024, I found myself at that crossroads, burned out from the effort of being a father, husband, independent media and content creator, and ministry leader. One quiet morning, I recalled a moment from years ago that had profoundly shifted my perspective. It was during an expedition I led for kids facing unique life challenges. We encountered something extraordinary, a white buffalo, a rare sight that reminded me of the endless mysteries of life and God's goodness. As I returned to the present, I came across news of a baby white buffalo born in Yellowstone. Inspiration coursed through me. What better way to find a renewal than to take a group of kids on a journey into Yellowstone to photograph bison? No creature has endured such persecution yet rebounded so profoundly. It was a perfect lesson for the kids and an opportunity to shift our focus from the negativity of everyday life to helping others. Yellowstone National Park is a wilderness like no other. It stretches across 3 states, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, covering 2.2 million acres. It is a realm of untamed beauty and geological wonder. Beneath the surface lies one of the most powerful forces of nature, a massive supervolcano. This fiery heart fuels over 10,000 geothermal features, more than anywhere else on Earth. Iconic geysers like Old Faithful erupting with mesmerizing precision and bubbling mud pots paint a landscape alive with heat and energy. But Yellowstone is more than its geology. It is home to an extraordinary array of wildlife. Vast herds of bison roam its sweeping plains, a living link to an ancient era. Elk, wolves, and grizzly bears thrive in the park's diverse ecosystems, from lush meadows to rugged peaks. We were there to photograph the wildlife and experience the awe of the Yellowstone ecosystem. To make the expedition truly special, we knew we couldn't do it alone. We reached out to the National Bighorn Sheep Center in Du Bois, Wyoming. More than just a partner, the center shared our vision, helping kids, especially those from challenging circumstances, connect them with nature in transformative ways and create mentoring opportunities. They introduced us to local kids from the Yellowstone area who were eager to join our journey into the Lamar Valley. Yellowstone is a place of primal beauty, where nature's power is on full display. It is also a place of recovery, where bison, a species that once teetered on the brink of extinction, now roam free. Their story of survival mirrors the challenges many of these kids have faced: hardship, resilience, and the journey toward healing. During our time in Yellowstone, we had incredible opportunities to photograph pronghorn, the fastest land animals in North America. These creatures seemed completely unbothered by our presence. From a distance, we saw grizzlies, arguably the most sought-after animals in the park for wildlife photographers. Watching the kids' faces light up as they observed these majestic bears was heartwarming. We also photographed elk, which gave us the chance to discuss the North American model of wildlife conservation and its role in the survival of many species, not just in Yellowstone, but across the continent. Elk were a very important part of the trip because they serve as an example of Yellowstone's important role in wildlife conservation. The establishment of Yellowstone in 1872 as the first national park provided a refuge for elk. Elk populations in Yellowstone were strong in comparison to other areas of the country. By the late 1800s, elk were being hunted commercially for meat, hides, and antlers. The establishment of Yellowstone and enforcement of anti-poaching laws put forward by hunter conservationists curbed illegal hunting within the park. Early rangers in the U.S. Army, which managed the park from 1886 to 1918, played a key role in stopping poaching. But Yellowstone's elk story did not stop there. In the early 20th century, Yellowstone became a source for elk reintroduction efforts across the U.S. Between 1912 and 1928, over 70,000 elk
or relocated from Yellowstone to establish or bolster herds in other parts of the country. These relocation programs helped reestablish elk populations in areas where they had been extirpated. There are now more than 1 million elk in North America, and herds have been established as far east as the Smoky Mountains. However, the bison were undoubtedly the stars of the trip. We saw hundreds of bison and shared the inspiring story of how early American conservationists like Teddy Roosevelt helped bring the population back from just a few hundred to hundreds of thousands. Although no one had seen the baby white bison since the initial photograph was taken, that didn't deter us. The kids were thrilled to photograph the bison, especially since it was close to mating season and the activity levels were high. We witnessed huge bison. We watched them fighting. We saw them rolling in the dirt. We observed female bison and the kids' favorite, baby bison, affectionately known as red dogs. The excitement was palpable and the experience was unforgettable. Through our program, Higher Calling Wildlife, we mentor kids like those on this expedition to use photography for conservation purposes. Their photos contributed to an article for the award-winning Higher Calling Wildlife blog. I had the privilege of telling the story of the bison through their eyes, showcasing how young people can be a force for conservation. This trip demonstrated how science-based wildlife management and habitat conservation can unite people to achieve great things. It's through efforts like this that places like Yellowstone can be conserved and species like the bison can thrive. While the mission of the trip was to help kids and carry a conservation message forward, it also renewed my own spirit. Time spent in nature, where God's voice seems to speak more clearly, can profoundly impact the soul. It reminded me that Christ sends us to serve others, and that in service we often find true personal renewal. Looking back, one of the most profound moments of my life was standing in the Lamar Valley with two special boys, gazing over a vast herd of bison. I told them that great things could happen in their lives and that they too could be a force for good in the world of wildlife conservation. That is what Higher Calling Wildlife is all about, instilling hope with encounters with nature's most epic creatures.